All right, what's up, CLG gamers? It's us back at it again with the unnamed fighting game podcast with me, Apologyman. We got Brian F and Romolla as well. We heard some pretty cool ideas for the podcast names in the comments, but if you have any ideas for a podcast name, please put them in the comments below because we cannot think of anything.
Yeah, they were cool, but not cool enough.
We see you though.
I love Apologyman bleeding for a name.
Please give us an idea.
We need help.
Cannot think of anything.
And another thing is, everyone keeps referencing, like, I saw one that was pretty good, Triple KO, but this will eventually be a 4-person podcast. Just once again, Cuddlecore is she's a hard woman to get a hold of these days. You know, she's got big things, big plans, and we're just here
always
sitting around talking for no reason while she's out.
Yeah, we got nothing better to do. Just talk about fighting game news. But yeah, the first topic we kind of wanted to talk about, speaking of Cuddlecore, was the video game awards and how they showed some Tekken 8 news. I saw the trailer like a bit. And I also saw like just like not too much of the fighting game awards, but I at least saw the who won the best fighting game of the year.
Oh yeah, should we talk about that first? Actually,
yeah. So first of all, I'm for the meme, I wanted Sifu to win. So Sifu for some reason was an option, which is
that was my vote.
Action, like it was like some third-person action game that reminded me of like God Hand, and it was a fighting game in the fighting game category. Obviously, it didn't win, and Multiverses was the one that won, which honestly it probably deserved it the most. I think of the games.
I agree.
Yeah, Multiverse is a very cool game,
and it's like the only like. It does have its problems, but it's one of the best products, I would say. I mean, it's free to play, right? And, you know, you open the game up, you're like, okay, like this is a complete free to play experience. You know, they have all the numbers going up, all the stats on all the unlockables. It's easy to get into the game right away. And, you know, it features cool characters. You have LeBron James and Bugs Bunny. Like,
No, the IP is really strong. Yeah.
Right. Personally, like the game I played the most for 2022 was DNF Duel, but under no good conscience could I vote for DNF Duel to be fighting game of the year. Like, because to me, I feel like you can't just judge it, especially on that level, based on the gameplay, because that's just one part of the game. And so for me, DNF Duel is my favorite of the gameplay. There's also like KOF 15 that came out and was in there, and I wanted Sifu from the meme also. And I prefer DNF Duel to Multiverses, but product-wise, like I could not vote for DNF Duel. I did not want that to be the game of the year, and people were like, "Oh, I can release a game with no single-player content and no DLC roadmap, and this is totally okay." And you know what I mean? It was kind of slim pickings for 2022.
It was definitely slim pickings compared to last year. I feel like there was much more to pick from. But yeah, the options this year were DNF Duel, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, All-Star Battle, which low-key, that one kind of wanted to win. That game is sick.
I think it's a really cool
game, but like it has amazing fan service, but it has delayed base netcode, so that's
right. Exactly. That's the problem. They always have some caveat where it's like, I can't in good faith endorse this as like the representation of fighting games for the year, right? Only Multiverses, and even that one has like some netcode issues here and there people complain about. But KOF 15, like that to me was like the next candidate for like, a complete fighting game package with support. But then there's all these matchmaking issues where people can't find games and they just can't play the game online. So there's always something that kind of ruins the experience where I'm like, how can I look at this and say this is the game of the year? Like
this fighting game.
For sure. Yeah, I hadn't gotten to play much KOF, but I heard for like it was like 6 or 7 months. People were like, the matchmaking is just not really working for us. So.
The rollback itself was pretty good though.
Right. The netcode itself, when you got into a game, like I played it for a couple days on release, and I didn't really have issues with it. But I heard like as the game went on, the hardcore people just couldn't find games, and it was just broken for certain regions. People just like left out in the dust, and I'm like, well, that's not a functioning product, right? So yeah, it was kind of sad overall, to be honest. I was kind of like, this is not a good year. Sifu should definitely take it.
Honestly, Sifu is a pretty sick game. I'm not gonna lie.
It's weird that in 2022 we still have that problem. I mean, this is like the classic meme of like the fighting game community has to defend themselves. Like, no, we're not the beat 'em up genre. No, mashing buttons is not how you play the game, right? Because like there's beat 'em up where you're literally just encouraged to mash, and if you want to, you can start to learn the systems. And Sifu is not like that, but it's still the same thing of like people don't know what the hell a fighting game is.
Oh man, it's just so funny to me. I was just telling all my friends, like, if you think about it, every game is a fighting game. You know, in Call of Duty, you fight each other with guns.
True.
You know,
True. The mind games, the RPS in Call of Duty though.
League of Legends, my favorite fighting game.
Wherever there's conflict resolution, it's a fighting game.
Yeah,
books, movies, I don't care what it is. They're fighting games.
Exactly.
Oh man, but yeah. The big news for fighting games that was shown was they showed like the Street Fighter 6 trailer as well, and they showed the Tekken 8 trailer.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Tekken 8 trailer was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, it looked really sick.
Yeah, I think the Tekken 8 trailer was bigger because they showed off a lot of footage for Street Fighter 6, but we already knew those characters were coming. So I think for the hardcore audience for Street Fighter 6, like that was definitely big. They showed off Manon, I think it's Man.
Is it Manon?
No, you don't say the
it's
N. Mano. Listen, I've been butchering it since her announcement. Like I can't nail it. And then it's Marissa, JP, and DJ. So DJ being the only returning character. So the new characters look sick, and you know they showed off some of their new mechanics, but they already showed off the full beginning roster. So like, you know, we kind of knew they were coming, but we got to see them in action. Manon or Mano, I can't figure it out. She's a ballerina who is a grappler. So I think that's pretty sick. Like I was actually pretty impressed with some of the character designs. I was like, okay, like they're doing something interesting.
I mean, yeah. For me, I thought Marissa's design was so cool in like a lot of ways. I mean, like she's really pandering for my aesthetic. Like history wise, a lot of it actually kind of is nailed. Like people are like kind of making fun of Capcom for like they're like, oh yeah, she's like Italian, but she claims ancestry from Greek heroes. People are like, oh, stupid. What are you talking about? And then it's like, you know, in Roman history, that was something they did a lot. So it really lined up, which I thought was cool. Like stuff like that, right?
Okay, I see this Civ 5 training is paying off here.
Absolutely, absolutely. I got a
because all that went straight over my head. I was like, oh, Marissa, she punch hard, you know, like
Romolla is like a history buff though.
She does that too, though, and that's the cool part, right? She does.
Did you see her win animation? They didn't show it in the trailer, but they showed it after. When she KOs you, she puts on like the Greek helmet, the battle helmet, in all gold, and then picks up your collapsed corpse and carries you to the rays of sunshine coming down from above. She's like, "Oh yes, I will take your body away to bury it in honor of this glorious battle."
That shit is so cool. They really made her look so awesome. I'm very excited to play her. I'm a little disappointed because the gameplay footage revealed for her wasn't as thorough, I guess.
Oh yeah, they did. It's so after that trailer, which showed off just a few flashy choreographed moments, Capcom keeps doing these things where they will take it to like the Capcom Japan studio, and I'm not sure who is running these because I only watch the snippets that come after, but it's just basically people who don't know how to play fighting games at all and are just mashing, and everyone goes yay, like so you know, it's like I get it, like we're not the audience for that, and you can kind of piece together some stuff here and there, like oh they did a special move on accident, what move did they do, you know, and you kind of figure out what happened. But it does make me appreciate people like Damascus and Tyrant who do the character showcase, and even you, Beneath, you did that for DBFZ, right? Like, dude, we got nothing like that for Street Fighter.
Oh my god, dude! I wish it would be like a standard at this point because it's so easy. You know, it actually doesn't take much. Like, you just get some players that know what they're doing, and then you just give it to them like early a few days, and then they just lab it out, and then they, discuss it with the audience. I feel like it's such a waste to not use it as it's like a great marketing opportunity to like really showcase the game in like a cool way. Because you get so many clips out of it too, right? Like, oh, look at this cool thing, and that's like what you want.
It's weird. Like, I on one hand, I try to be understanding, and be like, okay, we're not the audience for this, because a big part of that, they always want to show off like the dynamic control system, which is like you just mash, and based on the spatial awareness, the game plays itself for you. And then there's the moderate controls, which is like easy special moves. So like they're really leaning into that for these presentations to be like, oh, you don't have to be a nerd like us to know the game. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but I feel like you should satisfy both parties. Because that stuff, the mashing does not pop off within the community and does not like go viral and does not show, like, even to the average gamer who doesn't know fighting games, you can tell the difference, I think, from someone literally just mindlessly mashing the same moves over and over and jumping sporadically versus someone who does a combo. Like there was no combos in the showcase. You know,
Yeah.
like they could not string together a combo. But if you have a competent combo, like someone who doesn't play fighting games can see that and be like, oh, that looks cool. Like that looks badass. And the gameplay they show up doesn't look that badass. And so I get both sides, but they should.
You
do
ultimately
more.
want to get more eyes on it. So yeah, combos and stuff like, or just like cool, like, oh man, he parried this last second, like just like high level stuff. That is gonna get more engagement just naturally. So like, and ultimately you want to get more eyes on it. So yeah, it's just.
But I always question that. It gets more engagement within our FGC bubble, but like, does it actually work? I try to keep an open mind at least.
Sure. Cinematics are also another big thing too. That'll also that I think spreads throughout like the bubble of just like the hardcore players.
Right.
But yeah, just.
But for
stuff
us,
like that,
it's so frustrating watching that.
It's
footage.
so frustrating.
Like,
yeah.
You want to turn it off. Like the first footage of the character you've ever seen, and I don't even want to watch it. It's just painful.
It's funny because Arcs actually did something similar last month with Sin. They had an IGN like kind of reveal, like a very short like kind of set, just like showing him off, and people hated it. But like at least like they're like running kind of like a competitive set, right? Though it was clear like one still didn't know what Sin was doing, right?
Dude, yeah. The IGN guy was going hard, dude.
Yeah,
I was like, yo, hold back, bro.
I saw the clip, and it was Geo just washing the Sin player. I was like, wait, clean, I guess.
People, yeah, it was like this dude came ready. He was actually he had the Geo nerfs got to him, I think, to say the least. But people hated that, and then I was like, at least like it can't get much worse. And then I kind of watched that and I was like, it wasn't really what I expected.
Right.
Yeah.
I do recognize it is, it's not always for us.
I think it's different when it's a DLC for an established game. I think 100% once it's DLC, you need to do these things we're referring to, like more in-depth character showcases. So I think it's a bit different for a game that's not released yet. Like they're casting such a wide net right now.
Yeah.
That and also let's be honest, if you're in the FGC, you're almost guaranteed you already know about Street Fighter. Like,
oh yeah,
if you're in the FGC, you know Street Fighter, right? So I think we're not really the target audience. So I think down the road, once you have DLC for returning players, you have to be a lot more conscious of like showing something exciting for people who know how the game plays. So I get it to a degree. I hope for a bit of both in the future for the upcoming characters, so we can get that itch satisfied. But and until then, we're just gonna have people mashing with Honda. Like I didn't see a single Honda special move. I don't know what he does.
Dude, even in that Sin showcase, the dude was even asking like good question. He asked like, cool, who does this character beat?
Oh, and yeah. Like stuff like that. Like, they're just like, I don't know.
What kind of
yeah, like it was funny because the Sin one, I was like, oh, they probably should have like had like a strategy or like made something like in advance for this. Like, just, like so it was a little smoother, but that also was a little it was pretty rough.
Right. Well, we don't have any of that for Tekken 8 to complain about yet, at least. Yeah, I think we were supposed to originally just talk about what was actually revealed, but we had a bit of a tangent there. But with Tekken 8, so they didn't have any gameplay or I guess any dev breakdown shown after the fact that they did with Street Fighter. It was just the trailer, and it looks sick. I mean, we saw the original cinematic, which looked unreal before the Game Awards. Like I forgot what event they announced that at. Maybe it was the Sony State of Play. Was that what they did?
Yeah, State of Play.
Yeah, I mean the graphics looked just unreal. Like I could not comprehend how many polygons they had for the sweat particles running down. I cannot see this running on a PS4.
Yeah,
which made me kind of happy.
Yeah.
I'm a PS4 hater, but I get it. But it is running on PS4. I mean, it's being released for PS4 as well. So
I'm ready to move on from PS4, honestly. So I'm
I get it. The state of the consoles is so the worst it's ever been, and the price range for these consoles and availability is so ridiculous. It's just so stupid. Like this is not how consoles are supposed to operate. Like it's easier to get a PC than a PS5.
The console is supposed to be the cheaper, more affordable option if you just want to play the game, but it's
right. Yeah. So I get why all these titles are being I feel held back, but it's a very negative way to put it, but it needs to kind of be available on these platforms to not price people out. So unfortunate economic reality, I think, of the current state of gaming. But with this Tekken 8 trailer, they showed us some gameplay, showed us some characters. I think the big thing was the reveal of the heat system, which basically allows you to cancel your move, almost like an FADC for like Street Fighter equivalent. You can throw out a punch and then cancel it with I believe there's going to be a new meter that allows you to manage that. And it came with a statement from Harada where they're trying to promote aggressive gameplay. And he went on some kind of like, I don't know if it was just word soup, but he was basically saying, oh, at high level gameplay for Tekken, a lot of the time you don't see anyone engaging because they're just jockeying for position. But the funnest part for spectators and for players is when you're going ham. So we're trying to promote aggressive gameplay with the heat system. And you know how Tekken players are. They're all like legacy old heads, and they're so scarred from rage and other mechanics that promote scrubbiness and comebacks that everyone lost their minds. Like a lot of people were immediately losing their minds from like 5 seconds of a punch being canceled into a dash. So it was pretty dramatic after that trailer dropped.
Yeah, I want to say the statement was more just I don't know, just word soup jargon, just for like casuals and stuff. They're like, yeah, aggressive, yeah, cool. I like because Tekken has such a wide audience. Actually, like that game is so popular. There's so many casual players that just play the game and they just like bashing buttons. So maybe them reading something like that is like, yes, that is what I love about Tekken. So I get it, maybe if that's why, but I also understand the fear as well, because you don't that direction is like kind of scary for the developer to like straight up say, because I don't know. I don't even think Street Fighter, like I heard that for Street Fighter 5 when the game came out, and then I feel like Street Fighter 6 is kind of.
Well, no, they didn't say. They said the opposite with Street Fighter 5. Street Fighter 5, they said this is a return to footsies and fundamentals. Like that was it was not aggressiveness. They never advertised aggressiveness at all. They were pushing like we're getting rid of Vortex, we're getting rid of all these stupid mix-ups. It's all going to be about basic footsies and fundamentals. And that's what the audience, the community believed. But every game is fundamental based until it's not, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think we should take too much of what he says to heart.
Yeah, no, for sure. I take it with like a grain of salt. I think it's really it's understandable to be afraid, but I think you gotta wait till you see the actual gameplay before you can start making like real judgment calls on what the game is like. I think it's just some stuff he said for just like an interview.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Like I get concern because I feel like with Tekken, it's kind of similar to Gear, where like I remember always hearing like the old Tekken players just hating 7 because it was just different, right, from what they're used to. And like the same like for Gear with like how people were with like when Daisuke said it's like what do you say? It's like Mahjong now instead. That's what you wanted it to be like instead. Yeah. Like people were like panicking like immediately, and I mean, some games, I know there's some old heads that don't like Tekken 7, and I know there's a lot of people who don't like Strive. So I feel like people are just like very defensive when they start hearing like, oh, we want to kind of move it towards this, angle. We want to move it towards more simplistic or aggressive sort of stuff. But I mean, if you don't even know like how it all comes together yet, I feel like it's kind of rough to be making assumptions so fast.
I saw like a 40-minute breakdown from what's his name, PhiDX. He's a really good Tekken player and does good tutorial content. And you're saying can't make assumptions. Okay, no, it was 10 minutes. I'm exaggerating here. I'm pulling up his channel. But he went into a whole 10-minute video of heat system problems and, really broke it down, like why this is so concerning to high-level Tekken players, because I guess the idea is like how movement and mix-ups work in that game, and the fact that you can just throw out a move and then cancel it and put them in so much block stun that they're unable to use their movement options to sidestep or crouch, or because I think it forces crouch or something. So that limits your options as well. So I don't know, like that was frame one. The trailer came out for Tekken 8, and the next day I saw this video that was going around on Tekken Twitter. It was a very good breakdown though. It was informative to me as well, just to learn more Tekken concepts. But yeah, I mean there's people concerned about it. I mean, if there's anything Tekken players seem to like, it's not touching the formula.
Yeah,
they love
definitely.
To be like,
series.
I practiced this for 10 years. Like, don't mess with it. Like, keep rewarding me for knowing how to Korean backdash and move well.
Honestly, though, that is one cool thing I kind of like about Tekken. I like that Knee has just been like whooping ass for just so long.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how the game turns out.
That's
I guess.
True. I like both. I do like. I like that Street Fighter kind of has a reset, but I also do like Legacy. So I think there's room in the FGC for both, and I guess that's why Tekken players want it to be Tekken, whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know a ton about Tekken. I think, like I mentioned before, my peak with Tekken was I got an instant Shining Wizard with King Armor King,
Nice.
which that was hard as fuck when I was learning it. I just wanted to share that, but that was pretty much as far as it went. But I don't know. Like I think partially it's like also kind of comforting because I think Tekken can also be kind of intimidating to watch because there's a lot going on that's kind of hard to keep up with. You know what I mean? As from a spectator point of view, at least for mine, because it feels like I mean the game is very, very hard, right? At least I would say it is. So I don't know. It feels also like I wouldn't mind some like simplification for my own sake as someone going in for like maybe I really want to take Tekken seriously, but I don't want to. There's a lot of knowledge checks to really go through in Tekken that I'm not ready for. So
I kind of agree with you, but when I say that to my other friends that just like watch fighting games casually, they say the opposite for Tekken. They're like, yeah, I love watching Tekken. They just punch each other and like they move around and stuff.
Right.
And like when I watch team games, it's like there's all this stuff everywhere, or like Street Fighter, it's like a little too slow, and they're just like going back and forth. So I think if you don't know anything about the games, I feel like Tekken is actually, I can understand being pretty entertaining to watch. But for me, I'm like, I want to know what's exactly happening, why they're making the choices they are.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's the frame date on that? Was that a good read?
Right.
Was that a read? I don't know. Was that plus? But that looks hella negative. Oh, it's plus, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but the way I put it, and people, Tekken has that reputation of being like overly complicated, but that's only to people who already know fighting games. Tekken is so popular for a reason. That's because it is the game that if you know nothing about fighting games, it just looks cool. You can immediately pick it up. You just start mashing random buttons and you do badass stuff immediately. Like you get 10 string out. Like you don't have to know anything about fighting games at all to pick up Tekken and do some cool stuff. Street Fighter, that doesn't really happen. You can't just mash and make cool things happen. Street Fighter kind of funnels you into like, hey, if you're going to start enjoying the game, you're going to learn the fundamentals and you're going to learn how to actually explicitly understand everything that's happening. Whereas with Tekken, if you know nothing, you can start intuitively learning over time by just mashing around and having fun. And then slowly over time, you start explicitly gaining the knowledge. And there's so much knowledge to gain that you just intuitively pick it up over time. But when you already know a fighting game explicitly to a high level, to then jump to Tekken, where you have that desire to immediately get to a similar, maybe not as high level, but like an intermediate to advanced level in Tekken, there's so much that you have to learn that I think it doesn't bode well for people hopping from a non-Tekken background to it. But if you start with Tekken, I think it's one of the best games of all time to keep you in that ecosystem and just have fun learning. So yeah, I think Tekken is great for beginners, but bad for intermediate to advanced players because it's just a lot to learn because you just want to know more. That's why I wouldn't want to do it because, I also want to know all the frame data. I want to immediately understand all the systems. And it's like, okay, I can do it, but am I going to dedicate my life and get a PhD in Tekken movement and frame data right now? Like,
maybe not.
Got other things going on.
I do get it because, I mean, that is literally what I want to do, right? I just want to go in and like kind of develop my game plan and that to like a point where like I can be very comfortable and confident in the game. But it's definitely very hard, especially if you're, balancing two games, right? In fact, I don't think there aren't very many players from
there's
Tekken that branch out, right? Like, usually they're in Tekken, right?
Yeah, very little crossover.
I know
Calibur, kind of, I guess.
Pokechop is the one guy I can look at.
True,
There's a few. I've had my run-ins with him in Street Fighter tournaments, always fun. But yeah, I feel like in general, Tekken usually has the most like hardcore dedicated, like they're Tekken players,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's also like a really good thing to keep because that's like, it's like a story in itself that's very cool. Like, with like Guilty Gear, there's like all these legends from like FAB, right? Who's playing it like Potemkin for literally like over 20 years and like usually he sucks. Right? So it's like stuff like that is really cool. They can just keep coming back and like they put in the effort and they really sweat it, every version, right? I think that's really cool. And obviously when you start like simplifying things, people get a little more grumpy and they're like, I don't know if I want to fuck with this anymore as much or stuff like that.
Hey man, hold this mix up, right? I'm gonna down forward F, whatever it's called. What is the second notation? Heat cancel, and you gotta hold my mix. Sounds good to me.
That's sounding like something I know already.
I always look at it as an opportunity to make some legacy players mad. That was my whole goal with Strive was to beat at least a couple of legacy Guilty Gear players in the first month, and then make them whiff throw tech and counter hit them, and then be like, all right, that was fun. Later, guys.
Brian quickly learning that Guilty Gear players are masters.
It was great. So maybe Tekken 8. That's the Tekken for me, man.
Yeah,
all right,
maybe.
I don't gotta learn movement. Just heat cancel in. You gotta hold my mix.
Oh god.
Can I heat cancel my Death Fist?
All the Tekken players now are like, boo.
Yeah.
Let me heat cancel my Death Fist into another Death Fist, and see how that goes.
Oh, that would be sick. Tekken 8, Brian F running the Paul. That would be so fucking funny. I'd love that.
They gotta bring my man's flat top back. I don't know. Speaking of hating on change, what is it? Paul's. I get in the maybe post-apocalyptic world. It's hard to get your hair gel, so you got to make some concessions. But probably. He has like that emo sort of like crop. I don't know what it is. It's like a comb over. Like it's like he doesn't have enough hair gel to hold up his flat top anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I'm looking at it right now. No, it's gone. The flat top was like the best part.
It's gone, man.
No way.
Not enough hair gel. Times are tough.
But Jack looks sick though. I'm not gonna lie.
Jack 8 looks badass.
He looks hella sick. I like his design for sure. But yeah, they showed a lot of like the returning cats from old Tekkens.
I think no matter what, it's gonna be a good game.
Yeah.
Speaking of good games, DNF Duel. Right. They had the patch coming out, which I guess at the time of this recording, they're actually gonna go over the patch after this. After this, I'm watching the Arxis stream to see what they're gonna come out with, but they did show the patch notes, and they stuck true to the word. Everyone's getting buffs.
Yeah. I'm not comfortable enough to comment on like most of them. Like I have no idea what the hell how Airborne B is gonna change Swiftmaster. Launcher though, I was like, damn, like they kind of juiced her up. I kind of like what I'm seeing. I'm a little interested in playing DNF again, actually, from how much they changed her. Which I mean, that's a good. Yeah, they got my ass. The buffs, all the buffs, they got me. Though I will say, I was kind of hoping for a little more changes to the system, but I think like honestly, the type of stuff they're doing already is like the emphasis on like better dodge and like guard cancel. That's like, I mean, I feel like it was essential. Right?
Yeah. I think the guard cancel and the dodge are frame 1 now. So
that's crazy. That's
huge.
That's huge change. Yeah.
Because the biggest thing to me, because I played Grappler, like he was okay, but his defense was so trash compared to every character with like an actual DP that he just got so mauled. And if you rolled, you were just asking to die. Yeah. So I thought maybe they would extend the invincibility or like maybe increase the speed overall, but frame 1 being invincible is actually, that changes a lot because I don't even know like what the strings are because there's no frame data in the game, right? So like I'm still, I also read the patch notes, saw the buffs, went, ooh, okay, cool. But then I thought about the training mode and how like not useful it is, and I was like, oh, okay. How am I gonna learn what strings to roll through? Just like beat my head against the wall and go into a match and start randomly rolling,
just rolling through everything. So please work.
Mash roll every time I start blocking and see what happens. But yeah, I think that might be interesting. That might potentially change a lot of things, which I hope it does, because I think the problem was you got mauled pretty hard. Oh, yeah. But I do like the tactic they use, right? The buff everybody tactic, because it got me too, right? Because the first thing you do is you scroll to your main, you start reading the buffs, and you go, okay, that
changes good.
That does feel pretty good. But then you realize
like this version, and then you just close out of the tab.
Look at Launcher. Look at all of her changes. They got my ass.
It's like
they got my ass hook, line, and sinker. Look at this shit.
Oh man.
So yeah, the buff everybody strategy. No one is leaving this feeling like, oh man, my character got nerfed. So I think this buff everyone strategy is so good for short term, like a random boost, but I still disagree with long term retention.
Oh yeah,
it's not good for long term retention.
The thing is, like, you look at your character and you're like, oh, my character got buffed, but then you're like, oh, but everyone else got buffed too.
Yeah.
Like I doubt that the launcher changes judging from how they've changed like the system, I'm probably not gonna still enjoy fighting against Striker. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be the same sort of shit. Is kind of what I'm expecting. It'll probably feel a lot better.
They buff roll against your projectals. Like who knows? Like what if they just made projectiles useless and roll through, start getting mauled.
Before you couldn't roll a flamethrower, but now maybe you can't. So a little secret nerf there.
I saw Goichi post a tier list as well. First of all, I thought it was hilarious. He's this dude's content right now. I get it. Okay, he saw just literal text and made a tier list.
I love
for the 24 hours between the patch notes and the actual patch coming out. Like, here's the one tier list for this 24 hours. I'll make another one the next day after I play the game.
I respect it. Yeah, no, he's content farming. But yeah, no, I saw it. It looked like everyone was in kind of the same places mostly. He put launcher in B tier, and like everyone, like Hitman is still like the best. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, wow, he read this whole essay and was like, nah, nothing. Oh man, but I don't know. Or actually, you know what? Maybe it was actually the current patch. Nah. It seems like it's from he posted right after the patch notes,
or maybe that was the last tier list he made.
Actually, maybe sorry.
So Beneath is the one content brain right now.
Yeah.
Because I saw it right after the patch, but that makes sense because now that the patch is coming out. Never mind, that's my bad.
Well, but he's still setting up the alley oop, right? Here's the last patch last tier list before the patch. All right, now let me do the day one tier list with the patch and compare and contrast.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. But I just hope. Of all characters, I just don't want to be top tier. Please, no Striker. I think that character is like one of the most toxic characters I've ever fought in a fighting game. So if there's one character that cannot be top tier, please don't let it be her.
I don't know the way they changed her too. A little toxic. I'm thinking. I saw some whiff cancels available for. Well, there's one whiff cancel, but that's one too many for me.
Right. Well, she already had some kind of whiff cancel, didn't she? Like that was already. I think it was part of her game plan.
Into her she could whiff cancel her what are they called, like her mana skills, I think. So I mean, not entirely, but this is like her what's it called? Her S. Yeah. Sorry, I'm so bad with these names.
No, these names were not intuitive. I have to reread them. I would be talking to people about this game, and I had no idea what they were saying. Like I just felt my moves because I just pressed the buttons and they happened, but they would just say S, MS, and I'm like, listen, you're using the same letter for both like categories of moves. Like my brain is not reconciling.
Dude,
this.
I said ABCD.
Yeah,
I was even worse. I was just like, I refuse to say MS.
No,
I wish that's what it was.
Yeah, I want the ABCD. Give me that shit. I don't like A, B, M, S, S. Oh, I'm fucked.
Yeah, I don't know. They do seem to be making the characters nuttier. Like I said, I mostly obviously focused on Grappler, and he can he has. They made him have an actual awakening effect because previously his awakening effect was you take less white damage, or is it great damage in Street Fighter? I guess white damage in this game, but basically that made him. It was a nerf because that's the meter that you use to cancel.
Yeah,
and I forget the mechanic what it's called for cancel. So basically, his main way to get in would be to do one random MS, which he would launch into the air and come down from above, and you would just cancel that to combo from it if it randomly crossed up or hit, or just get pressure. So he needed that meter to get in. His awakening effect, which is supposed to be the comeback mechanic, when he got low on health, he got less of that meter. Because it was supposed to be, you take less chip damage. But I'm like, no, like I need that meter. Like I have I'm doing nothing from full screen if I don't have that meter. So they made it so that his awakening effect, he can actually cancel moves into other moves.
That's cool. That's cool. His awakening was pretty inconsequential before, honestly. Yeah.
No, it was I'm telling you, I've lost. It was consequential. It was detrimental.
Detrimental, I think.
I had many a salty session. I had many a salty session where
I could tell
it didn't work out.
Just the way you described it, I was like, you went through some shit.
Trust me. When you do that MS and it hits and the meter doesn't happen to get the combo, then you just die to a wake up DP right after. Yeah, you remember those sessions. But yeah, I think that's pretty nutty. That's a big change. Just let him cancel moves into moves. So I think. I don't know. I still don't know. Like, is it going to be... They want it to be degenerate, but is it going to be fluid enough to keep people around this time? Like that's what I'm wondering.
I think that's the real question.
Yeah.
Is it enough?
Most people, I feel like, were either complaining about the system, but I mean, it was mostly from defense, right? Like the way that you'd get out.
Right.
And like some characters didn't have as much as others. Like I mean, Swiftmaster unreleased compared to like Inquisitor or something like that was like 9-day, right? So I kind of get that too. Obviously, this fixes one of that, so that's pretty good. Or ideally, it does. System mechanic wise, you can't even tell though, because it's like the way that they all get buffed, it could just invalidate the system mechanics changes too, right? Like from how strong that their offense could be, or their neutral, or whatever. And then it could also be a thing where, like, you know, some characters struggle more, like you said, like maybe Launcher is weaker against the dodge, whereas you know, for like Berserker, that shit does not matter, right? So I'm intrigued, but I don't know. I always
so different.
Yeah, I usually prefer system changes over character changes more often than not. So like I think DNF is also just like pushing itself in a direction that does not really fit for me, but I mean, shit, they gave me a lot of buffs. I'll take it either way.
See, they got you.
Yeah, they got me. I told you.
But that's what I'm wondering. It seems like system mechanic wise, all they do is buff defense, so that you can roll and I guess so. The one I'm not fully understanding is the guard cancel. Adjusted the recovery on one self stun on the opponent to reduce the hit guard frame traps. This is or frame gaps.
What
you know,
is
it's
that?
some, you know, the translations are always very painful on these kind of patch notes.
Hieroglyphics. I don't know.
Let me try it one more time. Adjusted the recovery on oneself/stun on the opponent to reduce the hit/guard frame gaps. See, I read that and I don't know what they're saying.
Does this mean like there's like the guard cancel is fast?
Here's
there's like not guard stop. Like
is it safer on block?
I don't get it.
What's really fucking me up here is the forward slash. The forward slash is really doing me in here. I don't know. Like the oneself /stun is really putting in some work on me right now.
Like that one seems like it was almost meant to be a semicolon, and then the other one hit/guard is like normally when you use slash, it means you can alternate these terms. But oneself/stun, I cannot alternate those terms. Those are separate ideas. So I'm really not getting what they're trying to say. So either that's a buff or a nerf to guard cancel, and if it's a nerf, I mean, Godspeed everybody. Like
maybe this is their tactic. They word it so it feels like a buff, but you know, who knows?
That's true. If it actually ends up being a burf, I guess they could be like, see, it's in the patch notes. I told you. You should have just read it. You don't know what /stun is.
Yeah,
we swear. I hope they make it useful. That's what I'm wondering. Maybe it's like trying to speed it up so that you can guard cancel more things, because guard cancel was so bad.
Dude, yeah, it felt so bad too when you fought against like Berserker, and he would just like cancel. He would just he would just cancel with the Baroque
mana cancel because
I'm ready to throw my hat in the ring here. I think maybe literally all this is trying to say is it's less minus. Is kind of that's the only thing I can get from this. That's all I get.
I would be surprised if they made it safe though. I mean,
I don't think it'll
be a big
be
change, but
I don't think it'll be like super safe. But I mean, who knows? I mean, shit.
Maybe because it seems like the theme here is based on the dodge change. Give everyone better defensive options with the dodge, but then also make offense more oppressive and fluid at the same time. So that, and then see where that lands. Because I don't know if this game gets play tested. Like,
I'm sure they just put a bunch of these changes and they're like, hopefully this works. This will be funny.
I really felt like when I played this game, I was like, I don't think this is play tested. Because I think this game is so fun at like low level and like mid to low level. I thought this game was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And then it hits like when you hit the wall where people start getting good, I was like, wow, this game changed direction in a way where I was like, this is not, I don't think they foresaw this. Like, they did not reach this level because. With Grappler, I was like, man, the Grappler mirror is like it must have been the only matchup they tested because that's when Grappler actually works. And then like the rest of the matchups, I'm like, this character doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like
maybe aiding. So with aiding, right? Maybe they're just trying to strike gold. You know, like with Vanilla Marvel 3, that game was like absurdly broken and really cheap. But they made all these crazy changes for Ultimate, and I was like, these are cool, but like. Is this gonna really be like better or worse? And it kind of worked out. I like where Ultimate Marvel ended up. So maybe that's just like the aiding balance philosophy. It's like This probably works. It's fine. We'll see.
But
We'll just run
it's so hard to believe that it's the same developer. I cannot look at DNF Duel and
the character power does make me feel like it is like, but at the same time, man, I don't know. It's hard to say.
There's so much more at MVC3.
I don't know. I feel way more limited playing this game too.
The system in MVC3 is so much more, right? Like there's so much more to it, right? So I feel like most modern games tend to be a little more reserved on the system mechanics and more about, I guess, the individual characters. I feel like older games are a little more about system mechanics.
Yeah,
some were at least anime games.
The only thing that DNF feels aiding like is just character power, is just how crazy the character. That's the only thing. But yeah, the system feels so constricting and the movement feels so crappy that it's hard to believe like it was completely aiding's vision to make this game. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's hard to tell. Maybe it could have been an exercise in how can we make the most busted game with the least amount of like complexity.
It's just
possible.
a thought experiment. Like, what would happen?
Yeah, like just have 2 sets of moves and no special move inputs and just let everyone do everything from full screen and see what happens. And no air blocking, no nothing. I'm gonna play it though. I'm definitely
I'll give it a shot.
I'm definitely gonna try it out.
Oh yeah. I mean, they got me. Like I said, they gave me too many buffs. I'll give it at least a few days.
I think a lot of people are going to try it. Like I said, I think this tactic is good to get everybody to boot up the game at least twice, like once or twice, to give it a shot. Yeah. But I really hope this changes it for the better, because I do like this game. It's people will think I hate it because I talk negatively about it so much, but that's because I care. If I didn't care, I would not rag on DNF Duel. I've been watching the tournaments and supporting it. I do respect the players still grinding, and they still entertain me with their high level play. So hats off to them who have been grinding this out. But I'm hoping this patch is something that inspires me to join the fray more. But we'll see. Hopefully it comes out after this update. I want to play it tonight.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Vineeth, who did you play? Because I know Brian said he played Grappler.
Oh yeah, so I played Ghostblade at the beginning, and then then I found out okay, God, play Ghostblade. I'm like, I'm not playing Ghostblade, not this time. I'm wising it up to you, Hook.
You're good.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go play Hitman. Yeah, like an intellectual. Yeah, so I went to go play Hitman. I guess who switched to Hitman a few days later? I'm not even kidding. He switched to Hitman. Oh
I only played Hook a couple times, and it was against his Hitman.
yeah, and then he switched to Hitman. I'm like, I'm done with this game now. You got it, bro.
Maybe it's time to go back to Ghostblade. You could have been
honestly the character I had the most fun with was Ghostblade, and it looks like he's buffed. So yeah, I'll probably give it a shot. But also Hitman is also buffed. They made his crouching B combo into agile maneuver. I think that's like I don't know if that's
the command
6S,
dash
maybe. I don't know actually, but the fact that he could get a combo from 2B at the tippity tip is pretty good.
I don't like that. Yeah, that was like the one saving grace.
So good.
That was like the one saving grace, that like at max range, you could just like, it's risk wasn't as bad here.
Yeah,
not anymore.
Oh man. Rolling it, yeah, I guess you could roll it now too.
Just
I don't know.
Roll
this reminds
everything.
Me, dude. This reminds me. Did you play Persona, Romolla?
Oh yeah, I love Persona.
Yeah, dude. I guess 2B. That was the button. I was like,
more.
Yeah, I was like, this button is broken. It covers the whole screen. It's how do you beat it? And all the I guess was like, just roll it. Just roll it. So, when I see roll buff, I'm like, no, I've seen this before. Just roll the 2B. It's the answer. I'm getting gaslighted again.
Yeah, it just gives the OS for the people with the busted buttons. Yeah, bro, just roll it.
Yeah, just roll it. What do you mean? Yeah.
And I guess players were real sickos too. That character was they were so messed up.
Yeah.
But I played a Adachi too, so I can't talk.
Oh, okay, yeah. You had the broken jump in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how this game turns out. We'll see.
Well, speaking of messed up, how about that Street Fighter 6 beta, huh?
That's the best one. That's the best transition.
That is pretty good.
Speaking of messed up, yeah, I guess there was some drama with the Street Fighter 6 beta part 2 that happened over this past weekend, which I guess we should talk a little bit about the beta itself, just to a degree, and then we'll get into the ethics of entering beta tournaments while practicing on a cracked version that gives you extra months of advantage over other players. So that's the drama that was swarming the Street Fighter community regarding this beta. But as for the actual normal enjoyment of the gameplay itself, it was pretty cool to play again, but I only got to hop in on the last day of the beta. There were 3-day beta each time, so I played in the first one and grinded it heavily. But this time I was busy with tournaments and other stuff going on. So I played on the final day, and yeah, people know how to play now. The very first person I played, I was like,
interesting.
A little suspicious.
You're oddly good at this game. You're rather seasoned. You know?
I saw some stream of, I'm not gonna say the player's name, because I'm not a snitch, right? And I was that combo is really optimal. And he's like, yeah, you know me, Vineet. I just learned it on YouTube. Like, come on, bro. All the crack players, they're real slick with it. They're like, I just saw it. I was laughing in my brain.
Laughing in my brain.
Yeah.
Like I could clearly tell the difference from day 3 of the first beta to day 3 of the second beta. I was like, like the level of play is interestingly high. So that was my first match. My first guy I played, it was the Guile player who beat me for like an hour straight. And then finally I started playing other people. I'm like, okay, like there's varying levels of skill. It's not just everyone is godlike at this game.
The memes for it are so funny too. When they do a really optimal combo, it's just like the Among Us theme comes on. It's like,
sus. It's so funny to me because like the first beta was just like everyone just loved it, right? Like everyone was just like, it's so fun, having a great time. Like maybe Drive Impact, like a little complaint about Drive Impact. The second beta, I've just heard this motherfucker's on a cracked version, and I know it.
Right.
Like the whole time. It's so funny as like a spectator.
It spawns so much paranoia.
Yeah, it's like it feels like I feel like I'm watching like a game of Mafia, like the card game where it's like someone's Mafia, you're like the town. It's like I feel like it's the same game every time on Twitter.
It did inspire the ultimate OS, right? Like if you win, you're godlike. If you lose, they're cracked.
Yeah. It sounds like a compliment either way.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty good.
Yeah. So I guess for people who don't know, just to set context, after the first beta, which was in November, that was a couple months ago. I forget the exact month. Maybe October.
I think
it was October.
Yeah,
it was in October. So after that first beta, it took maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks for them to fully crack the beta. Which in that cracked version of the beta, if you were to look up the mod communities and install it and all that, you can get access to training mode. And I think they also found ways to do local multiplayer, which then people would use things like Parsec, which allows you to do, peer-to-peer screen share and play games on, someone's computer. So people would form communities to play the game. So, yeah, there was a subset of people who have been grinding this game since October. So now it's December. And then the game doesn't release until, June? June. So that means they're going to get like 9 months of extra time playing the game. Granted, it's an early build of the game, which only has 8 characters out of like the 20 something that are going to be in the cast. And they are making some changes to it, but like the core mechanics are all done. You know what I mean? Like the game,
sure.
You're playing the game for sure. Like they're cleaning up animations. We can see different trailers.
Yeah.
They'll tweak frame data and stuff like that. But like, it's not like a super early build. Like this is not like an alpha of the game, right? This is like you're playing Street Fighter 6 to a degree.
Yeah.
So it spawned a lot of controversy, not just in this beta, which we'll get into in more detail, but like in the general scheme of things, like, what happens 9 months from now or 6 months from now when people have been grinding this entire time and then tournaments start happening and maybe CPT and then it gets kind of serious, right? It's like, actual tournaments begin. So that kind of overtook the whole discussion of people just enjoying the game for the weekend because there was a lot of tournaments actually. People were organizing beta tournaments and people were getting a little suspicious of some returning cast of characters kind of cleaning up shop and all these tournaments.
It's like, wait a minute.
Recurring characters is so good.
Like, haven't I seen you here before? Yeah, there was a handful of pretty big beta tournaments and then people got a little heated. I guess there was like the question of ethics. Like, is it morally wrong to enter a tournament in a beta when you have gone out of your way to practice in a cracked version on an authorized version of the game? And yeah, there is money on the line, but to be clear how the money works, you're not paying to enter. These are community funded tournaments through Match Arena, right? So it's free to enter, but because people are hyped up and the streamers are promoting it, people donated. So like L.I. Joe's tournament, for example, he raised like over $2,000 for the prize pool, and there was other ones which are reaching like 1K. So there was money to win, but you weren't putting up your money to participate.
Yeah.
So then the question is like, like
it's a little bit, yeah, it's better, but
bad?
still, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I had experience with this in Smash Ultimate and SF5 actually. So in Smash Ultimate they did the same thing. They like somehow cracked it and like got it early, and it just makes the first 2 weeks suck. Like it entering tournaments, like for SF5, like there was. You know who you are, NorCal community. You know who you are.
It's like, always California and the West Coast, man.
You know who you are.
It works out.
Yeah,
it's always West Coast with every fighting game.
So I was like, man, I don't really want to enter these tournaments because, like, I'll give it some time. Like, but after that period of time, it doesn't matter. Like, it really,
right.
I really don't think the head start matters more than those first like 2 weeks, maybe 3. And then after that, I think it's like the same. I feel like everyone will just catch up, and you don't really have that advantage anymore. But it does suck, like, because that's like a really fun part of playing the fighting game, right? When everyone's just figuring stuff out, and then there's just people who just have it all figured out already. So I do get the concern, but also as the competitor, I guess, like, if you know that anyone can enter, and you know that there's people playing the crack. Like you know what you're getting into, I guess. Is at least like, if you are mad about it, like, you just, I guess, don't enter. I don't know, but maybe it's also on the TOs as well. But like, you can't know if they play the crack, right? Like,
yeah, it can't be on the TOs. It's like, what is the TO going to do? You know what I mean? Like,
so there's not much you can do. There's
an optimal threshold. Like, once you do two optimal of a combo, they go, wait a minute, this kid's cracked. Get him out of here. Like,
no,
like, what are you gonna do? Like, there's just no way to have. I just feel like you can never have rules that you can't enforce, and if you don't enforce rules, they're not rules. So you're never going to enforce a rule that says, hey, you can't play this unauthorized version of the game ahead of time. There's no way to enforce that, so that can't become a rule. So I think you just have to know, like, if you organize an event, you have to have it with a grain of salt. Like, yeah, people who play this are going to potentially been practicing on the crack, and this is, you know what you're getting into. Like, that's just what it is.
That is like kind of like my main point is just, you can't. I don't think there's much you can do, but I understand the frustration. It definitely sucks. It definitely sucks.
I think it ruins the fun, because I agree that point you made about it's like the funnest time of a fighting game. Everyone learning at like the same rate, and everyone like combining their brains together, and people solve different pieces of the puzzle at different times, and you kind of learning together. It's super fun. Oh, yeah. And then when you show up to the beta, like when I showed up and that Guile player like knew everything, and I'm like, I'm just trying to remember what buttons to press. Like, I have not played this since that 3 months ago when I played for a couple days, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, like, give me some time here, bro. Like, we're not even on the same wavelength. Like, it's not fun really. But when people are all kind of sloppy and spaghetti, and you're all kind of like trying to figure out together, like, there's some camaraderie with that experience. It's a shared experience that you can never recreate.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
And so people going out of their way to kind of get way ahead of the pack with that, and then coming into that space, it does kill the vibe. I get it. I get like not being happy about it, but I also don't think it's that serious. It's also not that serious. Like, it's a beta tournament. Like, who cares? Like, we'll catch up after release. They're doing the lab work for you. You're just gonna copy and paste whatever they figured out when the game comes out, and you'll catch up in a month's time.
That is exactly what I was thinking. I was like, I'm just going to steal all the work that these dudes have been putting in for the past few months, and I'm good.
As a competitive player, it's like...
Yeah, I feel the same with, as you do, Vineeth, where it's like, I think for like a short amount of time, it's definitely impacts it, but I don't know, like, you can learn a lot of stuff in training mode, but the interactions and stuff, that's a little different, right? You can obviously still play these interactions out, but there's not every character, right? Things can still change. So I feel like it's, it sucks, but I don't think there's, again, when there's not much you can do about it, I feel like it's just better to, try to let go a little bit, try to relax, because this, like you said, it happened with SF5 too, right?
Yeah, it did. Same thing.
It happens with every game. It's happened with UMBC 3. Like it happens.
Really?
It just always happens. Yeah, I showed up to one of my first ever tournaments, and they were playing. I saw like Virgil on a projector, and I'm like, "What character is that?" Like, I didn't even know like what characters were to come to UMBC 3. They were playing it on a burnt disc on like a modded Xbox 360, and like I had it on a big projector at this tournament at a mall in Miami. And I was like,
guy's pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah, they knew right away. They knew.
They
knew
Virgil guy's pretty good.
Cracked version of UMBC 3. Virgil was where it's at.
But yeah, I will say one more thing too. The people that play the crack, like, haha, they're enemy number one criminals. But one thing I really didn't like for SF5, there were some people, like, it was 2 months like after the game's been out, and they were still getting the like crack allegations. Like it's like I'm just like, bro, why does his like criminal record, like he has like a criminal record now, he's like tainted for life. It's like, bro, it's 2 months into the game. It's like let him
well, that's
the
price you pay, bro. Like people are gonna, because people will look for any excuse ever for a loss, right? So that is the ultimate OS now, and then for it can be 6 years down the line, man.
Yeah.
It could be the end of the game, but like I remember those 3 months you had the game before me, bro. If I had 3 extra months to practice for this shit, I'd be bodying you right now. So it's just I don't know. I guess you tread with caution, right? Like that's the issue with that. So
I guess I was pointing fingers at the beginning of this, so I'm not much better. but yeah, I just hope like Stream Monsters like chill out after like at least a little bit. Like, come on,
right? So you guys don't think that it'll be the only thing I'd be concerned about is with the tour setup, like. With 9 months of practice time, and then you have the CPT. We don't know what the schedule is going to be, right? And we don't know what the format's going to be. But if it was a traditional offline tour, you go to events and you get points, and cleaning up early tournaments while people are still catching up, like that could really impact.
There are points on the line, I guess. Yeah.
So to me, like I don't like the beta tournaments. I don't care at all. Like that to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
whatever, bro. Like you can be a little salty about it, but I don't think it's that serious to like totally go on a tirade or like hate out to somebody. Like whatever, man. Like that's their prerogative. But I do see more ethical considerations when it comes to like the tour. I think once after 6 months, I don't think it's going to matter at all. Like after release, like 6 months to me is the late. Like 3 months, the latest you can even think about like blaming the advantage. But yeah, an early game with a tour, there's big tournaments at the beginning of a tour. Yeah, that could be a problem, for sure. Right? It's a little unfair.
That's true. I viewed it much more from the Arxis lens, which like that's barely ever a concern for for me, right? But I feel like, like it does. There's a lot of weight and like familiarity with a system compared to someone not having it. Like you said, like for you just playing against a guy, it's like miserable, right? Because you're just trying to exist, right? And this dude's still killing you. And I feel like it's definitely, I don't know how much of an advantage it can be long term. And obviously, like I'm speaking from the lens of like a gear player, right? As I played a little bit of 5, like I said, a little bit of Mika, so don't trust me. But it's like I don't know how much that could really weigh for SF6. Usually it's very small though, right? Because it is usually just familiarity with systems. Not many people tend to learn things past that.
Well, just having reps, like it's not just learning the tech, right? Just having the reps in and playing the game. Because like with Street Fighter, it's about neutral, like that you get awareness from just by playing. Like that to me, I think there's a lot of stuff that you're not going to be able to just copy paste. You just have to get experience, and I think Street Fighter has a lot of that, where it's like your decision making is about spatial awareness, and like you can like look at where someone's standing on a screen and be like, oh, maybe he's standing there because of X, Y, or Z. But I don't think that's how people learn neutral. They kind of learn it by just doing it. And then as you do it, you feel like, oh, when I'm at these ranges, these are their options. When I'm at these ranges, these are my options. So that to me is totally experience based, and that you cannot replicate. Like you there is definitely aspects to Street Fighter and fighting games in general which are just about putting in time. Tech and stuff can be X copy. Like, okay, this setup, I do this, I copy that from you. But a lot of it is just putting in the reps. Yeah. So that for sure matters in the beginning. And you mentioned now that you mentioned it beneath NorCal, the first event that now I'm piecing it together. The first event for Street Fighter V was that final round.
I wasn't saying names. Hold on.
In 2016, I remember the top 8. There was some NorCal representatives.
Okay. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I'm connecting some dots here. But anyways,
well, yeah.
What I'm getting at is that tournament mattered. Those points mattered.
It did matter.
That's what I'm saying. So like this has eventually, I'm gonna say, real world consequences, as in the Capcom Pro Tour is the real world. So it can boil over into the professional circuit.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, Beneath just disproved like what I just said. So, thanks, Beneath. I appreciate that NorCal snipe from you.
No problem. Oh man, but yeah, it's like Street Fighter. It's a lot of reps too, right? The crack players are going to be better at dealing with drive impact than the people that aren't playing the crack, because it's just so heavy on like reaction checks, right? You're like, okay, I'm looking for jump and dash and drive impact. You have to just experience that a lot to just get better at dealing with it. So it makes sense.
Yeah, Street Fighter 6 is not it's gonna have some tech, but Street Fighter in general is not usually a tech heavy game. It's just about mental stack and neutral. And especially Street Fighter 6 is 100% about mental stack. Like that game is like, drive impact is an ever-present threat, and you need to be on your toes and ready to react at a moment's notice, and just dealing with all the animations from the different situations, like just having that twitch muscle reaction to recognize the visual cues, like that is just experience. So so if someone is reacting to all of my DIs, I know they're cracked. That's it.
Oh man.
You're reacting a little bit too well.
As a spectator, though, it's gonna be funny to watch the first tournament at least. I like to see some chaos, you know.
It's drama, man. It's drama, of course.
I want to, and also there's gonna be some pop-offs too on people who beat the crack players. They're like, "Yo, you had the game for like months, and I still beat you with only a week of experience." You know, I don't know. Yeah. That could be some. We're
losing the organic. Who can get the best in 3 days of gameplay and win a tournament storyline, but we're gaining
a
new
storyline,
more drama. So either way, like we did lose something cool. Like it is cool and nice to see who can do the most in the least amount of time, right? But we're definitely gaining something a bit more personal.
Oh yeah. From a spectator point of view, I'm trying to see the ladder.
Yeah.
I guess that wraps it up, huh?
Yeah. So pretty much it for me.
Street Fighter 6. I'm awaiting the next update. I don't know if we're gonna have another beta or not. It might just be 6 months of doing I don't know what. Maybe DNF Duel.
Maybe a lot of buffs.
I'm sure there'll be one more beta, and it'll probably have the more of the characters in it. And I definitely want to play then. I'm kind of gonna use Street Fighter 6 personally for me as an opportunity to finally play a charge character. I've been putting it off for too long, and it's like, okay, I can't play fighting games for a decade and not main at least one charge character. It feels wrong. So I'm gonna use Blanca as that opportunity.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. So we'll have some fun games together.
Guile or something.
No, I'm gonna play Blanca.
Blanca's
funny. He's green.
She gets Blanca has traps now, and
that too. That's a big part of it too. He's got mini Faust, dude. Come on.
Oh, gross. Well, I hate that we have to end this show on this disgusting note, but I think that does wrap up this next episode of the unnamed CLGFGC podcast. So I guess thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.